BMT. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coat. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coat. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me on, Mr. Palmer. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you. I want to say you also doing the Lord's work. You've been on here for what, 6 months, if that? And
yeah, I've been
followers.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube for like a year now, almost like like 13 months.
Don't seem like it, man.
The issue is that I wasn't really making a lot of content. All of 2020. I only made like 11 videos, so it was kind of hard to.
So that's what it was.
I was lazy, man. I was lazy.
I heard that.
And so I said, no, I'm gonna really start it up this year. And I saw you way back. I think we might have kind of because you started last year too, right? Or a couple years ago.
I started last year.
Yeah, and all YouTube sends me is really like videos on marriages and divorces and relationships with child support, because that's what I do.
Right.
And I saw you, and I started watching some of your videos, and what really caught my eye was just the knowledge that you had. You're not an attorney, but you know how the system is. Right. And the vast majority of people, both men and women, really no one knows what's going on. Maybe a guy has a particular case where he's getting screwed up with child support, or a woman's got a couple of kids, but no one really knows how it works in general unless they are an attorney. And so when I saw your channel, I'm looking at a man who's not an attorney, but who understands the system about how child support works, which was awesome. It was absolutely awesome to me. You got your own style.
I was gonna say controversial, right?
Yeah. You do got your own style. You got your own style. But I will tell you that style is so justified in so many cases, because child support is absolutely ruining some men's lives. It really is. And you don't hear about it enough. And as soon as you say something about it, you instantly get attacked if you're a man. If you're a woman and you start complaining about child support, no one has a problem with it. Halle Berry's been trying to get her child support reduced for 6-7 years, and no women are like, hey, you're trying to take money out of women's mouths. No, it's all, well, men need to stand on their own 2 feet, and men shouldn't have to get child support from a woman. But when you reverse it, you're immediately a deadbeat.
They finally lowered it too.
Yes, they finally did. So I can
$8,000.
Yes, which is still, but let's be honest. I mean, $8,000 for a
child. A lot of money.
So, but yeah. So I love the fact that you are out here letting people know what the real deal is, and I think that's fantastic. And I really think you're the only one who's doing it, and you're certainly doing a great job. I saw you today. I was telling you before we started that I saw you today. You were out there cleaning up some confusion. And some men, I know you go at the women, but you see it too. Like, even men are confused about how the system works. Yeah. And so you are really educating everybody.
We definitely gonna talk about that. I want to give a shout out to Judge Vonda B up in the building from Support Court, who is running for judge, who's going against a baby mama Tears in Texas by the name of Kim Cook. And soon we will be cooking on that ass. Shout out to you. Want to give a shout out to Jammer for the $10 donation. Appreciate you, brother. Yes. And people that don't know who the lead attorney is, I know a lot of y'all do, but just in case, the link is right here. Please subscribe to him, because if you want to get some knowledge on the law aspect, he can definitely tell you and teach you.
Yes, and let me jump in. Let me shout out to
Okay.
Gail too, because Gail for so long was my only one. She was my only moderator. She was holding it down. Thank you so much, Gail. And also to Judge Vonda, please come on the show. Come on my show. Let me chat with you too. I saw you on here. I saw you on Uncle D's, Dennis Sperlin's channel.
Right.
Let me do my part too to get your word. I know I'm not a big YouTuber, right? But anybody that we can reach to let the people know what you're doing out there and how we need people like you to be judges. You know, we've got some terrible judges in the system.
Yes,
and
sir.
so anybody that we can have like you that's on the bench is a huge service to the whole community. So please come on my channel and let me sing your praises.
I will. You know what? I will send her your email.
That would be great. That would be great.
Right after this, say no more, because we definitely need to put it out there and continue to spread the Lord's work. I want to give a shout out to OJ Ray for the 1999 super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. Now, what I want to ask you, well, not ask you, I want you to tell everybody where you're from and what you do and everything. Tell them your history.
Absolutely. I am born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, down here in the South. All right. And I'm not sure how it is in other states. I've never gone to court in other states, but I'll tell you down here, especially maybe 10 years ago, but you still see it today. We've got this whole Southern thing where it's kind of like a damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these older judges, especially the older men judges will really kind of put women on a pedestal thinking that they need all of this help because, you know, they're just women, right? They're just ladies. And they will really prop them up, and they do it at the expense of men. But I have been a family law attorney for about 20 years, about 19 and a half, 20 years. And I handle all types of family law cases. So we're talking about divorces. We're talking about child support. We're talking about child support modifications, alimony, property division, all of that. I'm also what's called a guardian ad litem, which means that I am an attorney for children. And I can represent 17-year-olds one day and then turn around and represent a 6-month-old the next day. And then I'm also a mediator. I have the highest classification in Georgia for mediators. It's a specialized domestic violence mediator. So I really handle all issues related to family law. Okay. And that's what I do on a daily basis. So because I've been doing it for so long, about 2 decades, I see so much. And one of the reasons that I started a YouTube channel was really, again, for the misinformation that you're fighting, Mr. Paul. I mean, so many people don't know what's going on, and there are not a lot of people in the manosphere, not a lot of people in the red pill community who really know the law, right? And there's no shame to them because they're not attorneys. But you'll have a man in the manosphere, a man in the red pill community, and he'll start up a YouTube channel, and he'll know about his divorce case, and maybe he'll know about his friend's divorce case, and then maybe he'll know about the guy at the gym, his divorce case. So he knows about 3 divorce cases, whereas I can do 3 divorce cases in a day. And I've been doing these things for 20 years. So I have a lot of experience and a perspective that you're really not going to see. And usually when I hear people talk, one of the biggest things that's out now is about how prenuptial agreements don't work. And that's terrible. It's terrible. If you hear anybody say that, you just need to know that that's false. Prenuptial agreements work. They absolutely work. But you have to draft them the right way. So that's why I started this channel, to kind of dispel a lot of the misconceptions that there are, and to really talk about what people are going through, because a lot of men are suffering, and it doesn't get talked about. And when it does get talked about, it's almost like a shameful type of thing. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. That's my background, and that's kind of why I started the channel. Okay, so is you still a lawyer, or you still doing family court? Yeah, I'm still an attorney, still practicing, still doing this on the side, which we were talking about before. I only did 11 videos last year. That was why, I didn't find that balance. But really now, I really want to focus in. I know a lot of people need this information. I've gotten some really great subscribers, great comments, people saying, "Hey, keep going, put out the content." So your man O'Shea Jackson puts out like 5 videos a day. Man,
he working. He out here working.
Yes.
That's that level. Now,
It's crazy. I don't know if I can do that, but MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, he puts out 2 videos a day and he has a full-time job. So it's possible.
yeah, he
Yeah,
works corporate.
exactly. So
We busy.
yes, so I need to look at these men, and really get inspired from them.
Yeah, I remember when I started, I was only doing like once a week, twice a week, and then I got to the point where I was able to do it. I tried to do it once a day, and maybe at least 5-6 days out the week. I'm stepping up and do more commentating as well.
Yes.
Want to give a shout out to Vonda B, Judge Vonda B, for the $10 donation. I appreciate you, sister.
Yeah, Judge, come on the show. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll make sure as soon as I get out, I'm sending her an email. She'll be glad. She's definitely coming around the universe of the YouTube and social media. Now let me ask you this. You know how I feel about these alienated baby mama terrorists and setting men up for failure, going to court for failing relationships or divorce. You being a lawyer representing fathers that you knew that they're getting screwed by the system. Give me one of your worst experience dealing with a father that just got railroaded.
Man,
I know you got a lot.
There's so many, and it comes in so many forms. Really one of the worst types of cases is, and I kind of saw this on the show that you were on today, where you talk about men fighting for 50-50.
Right.
And that's a real thing. And it's shameful that in this country, a man has to fight just to get 50% of the custody of his children. But a lot of men are smart, right? And a lot of men and a lot of attorneys, listen, there are good attorneys and there are bad attorneys. And there are attorneys who will say, listen, pay me $10,000, just give me $3,000 right now and we'll fight for custody. We'll fight for custody. And the person, pays the $3,000 and then pays 7 more and then pays, 5 more. And now that he's in $15,000 in the hole, the attorney comes back to him and says, hey, I know we got trial coming up next week, but it's not looking good. So maybe we just need to settle the case, right? After he's been paid the $15,000.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But all good attorneys will kind of let you know what the deal is. They'll listen to your case. There are a few cases where a man can make out a claim for, 50-50 custody or even full custody. If the mom is in and out of jail, if she's on crack rock, if she's the allegations of abuse, or if she's run off with a boyfriend, you see that a lot. Then a man can make a strong claim. But that really is only going to be, 1 or 2 cases out of 10, right?
Exactly.
And so a lot of men will come in and they'll say, I want to fight for custody, and you got to set them. You really have to set their expectations. You have to teach them about what the reality is. And a lot of men, once you explain that to them, they'll say, listen, I don't have $15,000, $30,000, $50,000 to spend trying to fight for 50-50 and then lose, because that's a huge misconception. A lot of people think, oh, you didn't fight for your kids, you didn't fight for custody, you didn't put down the $25,000, not realizing that a man can pay $25,000 and the result is absolutely the same. It is the same thing. The only thing that's different is now as the man is out $25,000, and so now he's having a harder time paying the child support, right? So now he's in more of a risk of going to jail, more of a risk of having his license suspended, more of a risk of having his bank accounts garnished and frozen. So a lot of men are just like, hey, I came in and I wanted to know about fighting for 50-50 custody, and now you've told me the law. You've listened to my case, my circumstances. The mom is, she's a mediocre mom. She's fine. She's not great. She's not horrible. She's just fine. And you told me basically, I can try for it, but, I only have a 10%, 20% chance of winning. I'm not going to go down that road and spend $25,000. Right. And so it seems like they're not fighting for their children, but what people don't know is they never really had a chance. Right. That's what people don't understand.
Thank you.
So for the worst cases are where a man, and this doesn't necessarily happen to me, it's happened to me before, but I really try to let men know what the deal is. The worst case is where a man says he wants to fight for custody, and then we get into this battle and he's not making enough money, and he's paying you to work, and you're working the case, and then you send him a bill for the next month, and he's like, I'm out of money. I'm out of money. Can you work for free now? The lead attorney, just like everybody else, I'm not going to work 7 more months in your case for free, right? But he says, you told me in the beginning what it was, and I thought I could do it, but now I can't do it, and I don't like the way this is going. Maybe the guardian ad litem is against us, and I have to stop, right? And so he's spent $15,000 or $7,000 or $20,000, and he's not going to get the money back because we've done the work. And he ends up with the same custody that he had that he was going to get when the case was going to start. Even if he had agreed in the beginning, just to the little 20% visitation that he was going to get, or the 25, however much possession or visitation or parenting time he was going to get. That's really terrible, especially because let me tell you something. If a man puts down, $10,000, $15,000, he really wants to spend time with his kids. It's not like, he just paid $20,000 and lost, like he went to Vegas and lost the money. No, he was fighting for something. Right. He was fighting for his kids. And so to really fight for it and to prove that you're fighting for it, to prove that you want it by spending $20,000, and then you end up losing the money and accepting what they were going to give you in the first place anyway. That's terrible. And it really, and honestly, it really doesn't have much to do with the women. It's the system.
It's the system.
Exactly, because if the system were fair, then who cares what the women think, right? Who cares if the women object? If the judge starts off by saying, "Okay, Mom, Dad, what do y'all got to say?" But I'll let you know before anybody opens their mouth, before anybody says a word, I'll let you know that I am starting off thinking that we're going to do 50-50. Now, if somebody has a problem with that, I'll listen, right? And if there are reasons, I'll take them into consideration. Right. We aren't necessarily going to do 50-50, but we're absolutely starting off with 50-50. If a judge would say that, it doesn't matter what the women say.
Exactly.
But it's the system. But don't get me wrong, a lot of times these women don't help, right? A lot of times they will make you spend the money. A woman can say, "Hey, you want 50-50? I think you're a good dad. Let's do 50-50. And the judge won't bat an eye. It's not like like a woman's going to go in there and offer 50-50 and the judge is going to say no. That almost never happens. It's the fact that these women oppose it. These women know that they have the power to fight men on this custody, and they do it. And they do it, number one, most of the times it's either to hurt the men emotionally because maybe those men have hurt them, or it's because of the economic incentive that child support provides.
And what are you again?
I am a 20-year family law attorney.
Okay. Now, I've been saying this left and right, showing proof, showing statistics, but yet they try to say that I just don't want to be a father and deadbeat and low life and stuff like that. Now, y'all hearing it from an attorney who does family law and has been doing it for 20 years and he's still doing it. Now, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. But y'all, I guarantee you, one of these simple forces or these baby mama Ted's gonna say he don't know what he's talking about. I guarantee it. That's just how the majority of society is. They would never go against the code. I'm gonna do the shout out for the cash. For the super chat, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Shout out to Angry Bus Drive for the $10 donation. He said shout out to the jury. Facts. Also want to give a shout out to Sergeant Tyson for the $5 donation. Child support suspended my license 3 times, took my passport and car and my military paychecks back in 2010 and current. Double dipping, claim my old errors. Man, sorry to hear that. Prayers to you, my boy from the East Coast of New York City. Now, I want to go back to what you said about the 50-50. Like you say, the judge is not going to come out and say, yeah, well, I'm going to let y'all know that it's 50-50. But you're going to have to prove your case on why he or she shouldn't get it, right? Exactly. Let me ask you your point of view. What's the reason why you think these judges are not coming out the woodwork saying, we're going to do 50-50 unless you prove me wrong?
That's such a great question. I'll be honest with you. I think there are a lot of reasons. Number one, it's because judges, both men and women, judges are just people. All right. And you don't see any 24-year-old, 25-year-old judges. You see judges that have been on the bench for 24 years, 25 years. These judges have been on the bench for so long. And number one, because they've been on the bench for so long, a lot of them are they're old and they're more conservative, right? And a lot of them truly feel that mothers are better when it comes to children. You know, that's how they felt in the 90s. That's how they felt in the 2000s, 2010, 2021. That's how they're going to feel. And you can't convince them otherwise. So a lot of them really, they don't see anything wrong with it. Now, some of them recognize their past prejudices, but they don't want to clear them up now, you know, because times have changed. And if I'm a judge and I have been giving mothers automatic custody for these past 20 years, and now I'm starting to realize, oh my goodness, I've screwed people over. I could change and start giving the men 50-50 custody, but that means that I have to recognize that I screwed all of these past men, all of these men for 20 years. And a lot of them, so that they won't have to clear that up within their own conscience, they'll just keep doing it. Right? I haven't done anything wrong.
It's like a baby mama terrorist. They keep doing what they do, and they know they doing wrong, but they can't stop. That's just what they do.
That's exactly right. In some states, there is a financial incentive, a financial component to child support. Yes,
that's what I want to hear. Okay.
Absolutely. In some states, especially when the child support goes directly to the state to pay back the state for any benefits, any government benefits that the mother is receiving.
Right.
Judges will absolutely rubber stamp that. And we have to remember that judges are, in most cases, elected officials, right? So they want to appear that they're progressive. Some of them, that they treat women well because women vote, right?
Right.
That's exactly right. So they want to show women that they're on women's sides, and they want to show that they protect children. No one cares if a man gets screwed over, right? But no one wants the women to get screwed over. No one wants the children to get screwed over. So it's very, very low risk. It's almost no risk for a judge to give custody to a mother. Let me tell you something about judges that you guys mostly you probably don't know if you haven't been in front of a lot of them. Judges, there's one thing that really judges want, and it's not fairness. That's not what guides judges. Judges want low risk. They want the status quo. They want, most judges, not all judges, there are some great judges, but most judges want the status quo. Because they're elected officials and they know they have people watching, they want to take the safe route. Because judges are just like everybody else. They got mortgages, okay? It's not like a judge wants to get elected to serve like a 4-year term and then get fired because the judge is going out on a limb for people. If you put yourself in a position where a judge has to go out on a limb for you, you're in trouble. And a lot of times that can just be being a man, right? Being a man and the judge wants to go out on a limb. If you're asking the judge to go out on a limb for you to give you 50-50 custody, for you to win 50-50 custody, that judge has to almost know that he's not going out on a limb for you. Like it's actually in the best interest of the kids. But reversing that, you can have a mom who's kind of sketchy, and technically it would be going out on a limb to give that mom custody because you don't really know how the mom is going to do with the kid. But giving a mom custody is always the safe play in our society. And so you have a lot of judges who will just say, I can make a hard decision and I can spend time and order guardian ad litem and review the reports. And I can really spend a lot of hours to try to decide whether or not this kid should go to the mom or it should be 50-50 custody. But, I have 700 cases on my docket and I don't want to spend all these hours on this particular case. The safe play is for me to give the mom to the kid. And that's what I'm going to do. And let's get to the next case. Yeah. And so there are a lot of reasons why the judges rule the way that they do. There are a lot of reasons why the judges are hesitant to give fathers 50-50. But there is definitely a financial component. But there's also a component of just playing it safe. I I'll never forget. I went to a family law retreat. Attorneys, we have to get a certain amount of education credits every year, and there were judges and attorneys there. And this old judge, he had been on the bench about 30 years. It was in a presentation of maybe about 200 people, and this judge stood up and took the microphone, and he says that he doesn't even give fathers visitation until a child turns 2, because he felt like before the child was 2 years old, the child was too tender. And so he did not order visitation until the child turned 2 years old. And we're in Georgia, right? But everybody was like, come on. Like, I mean, that can't be right. But this goes to show you how these older judges, especially these older male conservative judges, can rule. That's why we need the new blood in. That's why we need Judge Vonda in. We need modern people on these benches.
And them judges right there are the head lead simping forces.
Yes,
I'm talking about. They are, because they come to these baby mama terrors defense, and some of them know that these baby mama terrors got issues. They not beating the kids, or they not physically beating them, but when it comes to verbal, they let that slide.
Yes,
they only count that when a grown man do it to a grown woman. Then verbal, you go to jail for verbal for domestic violence, even though it's verbal. But when it comes to a kid getting verbally abused, is a different factor. It's totally different.
Absolutely.
I've seen plenty of time. I want to give a shout out to Lorenzo Davis for the $5 donation. He said, question to lead attorney: how should you dress when going to family court? And I want to say thanks to both of you, I guess both of y'all, for helping out men. Appreciate you, my brother. Let me do this last one, then I'll let you answer that question. Shout out to Face Facts for the $4.99 donation. What about judges and gal with unjustified biases against dads, even when the evidence says otherwise? Oh, it's 2 questions. All right, we'll go back to the first one. Lead attorney, I'll put it back up.
Yes, this is such a great question. Shout out to Lorenzo. This is so great. You know, a random answer would be, oh, you know, just wear a suit. But that doesn't take into account that a lot of people don't have suits. A lot of men don't have suits. You know, a lot of men didn't grow up with fathers in the home. You know, I didn't. My father wasn't in the home. I had a stepfather who was good, but you know, he wasn't there the whole time, maybe about 5 or 6 years. But I'll be honest with you, I learned how to tie ties off of YouTube, right? And that's because I didn't have a father in the home. And so a lot of times as men, we're just kind of, even things that should be basic, we don't know them. And so this is a fantastic question. What you should not do, and what I see men doing all the time, is wearing, these are men who don't have attorneys, by the way. Men show up to court with these graphic tees that have like words on them, and some of them will be sexual, like not respecting the fact that it is a courtroom. So if you can go to court in a pair of like a polo, like a collared shirt, and let's say some khakis or something like that, that would be great. That really would be like the floor for me, like the baseline. If you could get a button-down shirt with some sleeves and some dress pants and a tie, that's perfect. And, you know, just some regular $50 black shoes. Try not to go in sneakers, but any type of $50 church shoes that you can get, something just that are black with some shine on them. That's fantastic. And tuck your shirt in. Yes. And if you can just get like a sports coat or something like that to go over your button-down shirt and your tie, you're all set. And that's a great question. And it doesn't take a lot. Usually, you know, I know we got a lot of progressive churches, and it's kind of a come as you are type of thing, which I think is fantastic. But if you think maybe, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how you would dress going to church, even if you don't have a jacket, just a tie and a button-down shirt and some slacks or some chinos or some, you know, dark pants. Try to avoid jeans if you can, but just dark pants and some shiny black shoes, $50 black shoes, you're good to go. So that's a great question.
Okay, got Face Facts. He said, what about the judges and gal with unjustified biases against dads, even when the evidence says otherwise? I've been through that.
I mean, this is a great question, but it's kind of the opposite of the other question, because the other question, I can give you a lot of options. I can give you a lot of solutions, a lot of answers. This question is, Ron, I can't give you anything. I mean, it's true. These judges are biased. These guardian ad litem are particularly biased, and you can't really do anything with either one. The way that the law is written, it really gives judges a lot of latitude. You know, it leaves the decisions basically in the discretion of the judge. And so it's so hard to appeal. If 100% of the evidence is against the judge, then you can appeal and you can win. But if only 99% of the evidence is against the judge, you know, your appeal is probably going to lose. I mean, you have to, for appeals to work, they have to be so strong because the judges have so much power. And judges are smart, not necessarily guardian ad litem, but certainly judges are smart, and they know how to couch their decisions in ways that make it seem like it's not biased when it really is, right? And so that's a huge issue. So face facts, you're exactly right. These judges are biased, these guardian ad litem are biased, but there's very, I mean, let's just be honest, in any given particular case, there's very little that you can do besides trying to appeal.
I want y'all to take heed to this, because this is stuff that I was telling y'all when I say keep y'all veins cold. It's gonna come to a point where you may have to wash your hands and move on. And this man is telling you as a lead attorney, you can't make this up, man. I've been there, done it. You cannot make this up. Want to give a shout out to Sergeant Tyson up in here. Once again, $5 donation. My son's grandma, baby mama Tez, won't end the guardianship of my son, using him for rent money of $800 a month while pockets the money and won't give her daughter. I told you he got a story. I mean, he's in the tricks. He's been to war and everything. He was at the Capitol Hill, help protecting the politicians and everything. But his real fight is with family court, the baby mama Tez, for the same system that he fight for. That you can't make this up, bro.
Absolutely. And this kind of shows too, you know, so many people, you know, just commonplace, we tend to think that child support is when a man pays the mother. But this is kind of a glimpse to show you that child support really is so multifaceted. I've been involved in cases where, you know, the man is paying child support to the mom, where the mom is paying child support to the man, where the man is paying child support to the grandma, where the mother is paying child support to her own mother. Where the mother and the father are paying child support to the state for foster or paying child support or temporary child support to the Department of Family and Children's Services. Child support is a lot of facets to it, and it can be super complicated, especially, let's say, if the custodial mother moves and now you've got child support orders coming at you from different states and they're overlapping, and it can be a mess. It can absolutely be a mess. And so, yeah, he's exactly right. A lot of times you can pay child support to the mothers or to the grandmothers, and the grandmothers, they really would watch the kid for free anyway. And to say $800 a month, that you know, just be outrageous. And it could absolutely be rent money. It could absolutely be rent money. He's absolutely right.
BMT. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups.